Hey everyone, it's Rachel from Sugar Maple Farmhouse, and today I'm going to show you how to make a DIY wood centerpiece with a Cricut Explorer 3. Before we get started today, I want to let you guys know that this video is sponsored by Cricut, and if you've never used a Cricut before, it is an amazing machine. It cuts vinyl so you can customize anything, and it'll even cut paper so you can make paper crafts too. What I'm going to show you today is this DIY wood centerpiece, but really the sky is the limit with a Cricut. You can personalize almost anything. So I'm going to do the DIY wood centerpiece today, but I also got some holographic paper and some canvas bags that I'm gonna make my daughter a custom pencil case with. So it's just really an incredible machine, and it's so fun to use if you love DIY and crafting. To get started today, I'm gonna explain to you guys how we made this wood piece here. It's really simple, so I wasn't gonna do a full video on it because it is really simple and it'll take about 30 seconds to explain it to you. It is a 2x6 piece of wood. And then the legs are also the same 2x6 piece of wood. And all we did was countersink some holes in it and then set them about an inch in from the ends and stain it in an early American stain. So we made these this summer because I wanted something to create a centerpiece for me that would help the candles and other things stick up above the rest of the table. So this is what we made. I love it. I love kind of the rustic look of it, but I wanted to personalize it a little bit more. So I'm going to use my Cricut machine today to show you guys how I did that. Let's get started. If you guys have never used a Cricut before, what you're gonna do first is you're gonna connect the machine and get it all set up. Literally, that takes under 5 minutes. It's really, really simple. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go into the Cricut design space to create your custom design for your wood, your t-shirt, or whatever you're applying it to. I went into the Cricut design space, and in there you have images, you have text, you have shapes, you have a bunch of different things that you can use to create your custom design. I like flourishes, and so I went with some flourishes that I'm going to go ahead and adhere to the wood. I also started searching for maple leaves for Sugar Maple Farmhouse and went with a leaf design for this project too. Once you have what you want here, you're gonna go ahead and apply your vinyl to a mat. So the mat is sticky, and your vinyl will adhere to it. You cut it to the size that you want, and that's all you really need to do. I'm using today what's called aluminum adhesive vinyl. So that sticks right to my mat, and I'm gonna go ahead and thread that through my machine as soon as I've got my design. And the machine will take in the vinyl, and then it'll go ahead and cut your shape that you have made in your Cricut design space. So as you guys can see, I've got my flourishes here, and I'm gonna go ahead and then weed those out. If you don't know what weeding is, it's basically taking the space around your design and getting rid of it. So getting rid of all the parts that you don't want to adhere to your surface. So I actually started this project yesterday because my design is pretty detailed. You do not have to be this detailed with your design. You can make it a lot more simple. I actually think this board itself would even look beautiful if I had just done kind of one thing coming up this way. It would be so pretty. But I went with this design that's a little more complicated. And I did start it yesterday, but it hasn't taken me that long. And I'm gonna just show you guys, now that I've got all my pieces cut out, I'm gonna show you guys really quickly how I weeded some of them and give you some tips for working with the aluminum adhesive. When you are weeding with aluminum adhesive, you can go ahead and you can weed directly on your mat if you want to. However, I like to actually take my paper off the mat. I just feel like it's a little easier and it works for me a little better. It also allows me to go ahead and cut my pieces apart, and I like working with smaller pieces when I'm using this because I also just find that easier. With the aluminum adhesive paper, you do have to be careful when taking it off and baby it a little bit so that you don't crinkle the paper. I learned that the hard way. Once you have it off, you're just gonna use scissors, or I'm gonna use scissors, and I'm gonna cut my design apart. And then save your extra pieces, because you might need a 1-inch piece of adhesive aluminum at some point. Okay, I've weeded this one already. This one has to be weeded, so I'm gonna weed a couple of these for you guys, and then we're gonna apply them all to the wood so you can see how it goes, and I'll set up the centerpiece for you. When you begin weeding, what you're gonna do is you're gonna start to remove your vinyl from this backing that's on the vinyl. So I am gonna just start pulling, and you can see my leaf right away starts to come out. So sometimes you get lucky and it happens really well. Other times you have to work with it a little bit more. Okay, so I've got my leaf shape here that I took off the outer edges, and now I'm gonna go ahead and weed this detail out of here. Again, I like to do it this way because I can contort the paper a little bit if I need to, and I find that sometimes that makes it easier for me to get some of these pieces out of here, but you can again leave it on the mat too if you find that works better. So now my leaf is done. I'm gonna arrange it on here. I'm just kind of arranging things on here now to see where I want them to go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and do my swirls, and then I'm gonna transfer all of these at once. Now that I'm done weeding everything, I'm gonna use the Cricut transfer paper to go ahead and transfer my design to the wood. And you're gonna take your design, and I'm gonna place mine on the table. You're gonna put the transfer tape over it. And then you're gonna take your transfer tool and go ahead and start rubbing. Then you're gonna go ahead and check and see if the transfer has worked. Sometimes you need to do it a couple times before it works, but most of my leaf is coming right off. And then again, using the transfer tool, I'm gonna go ahead and transfer my design onto the wood. Once I have my design exactly how I want it, I can go ahead and set up my centerpiece. Thank you all so much for watching today as I created this DIY wood centerpiece with the Cricut Explorer 3. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. As always, there will be a full blog post up at sugarmaplefarmhouse.com so you can check out more of the details. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, please remember to subscribe to our channel so you can follow along with everything we're doing here at Sugar Maple Farmhouse. Thanks so much, everyone.